guys, so our state recently moved from red to orange on the, I guess, the scale for COVID-19. So I have been able to go back to work at the restaurant I waitress at, and at my first job, they have asked us to start wearing face masks at all times. I wasn't before because I didn't really come into contact with people very often, but now they've asked us to do that. So I finally decided to make my own face mask. I had been wearing disposable ones and they're just not that fun. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make one. And I actually went on a couple of websites, looked up different patterns, and some of the patterns were pretty whack. They made us look like we had bird beaks. So I kind of just made my own. Here it is. If you guys really want a copy of it, just let me know, comment down below, and I can see about sending that to you. But yeah, this is just a really simple face mask. I really like the shape of it. I don't really like the pleated one too much. They're perfectly functional and fine. I just personally don't like them. So this is just going to be one of the face masks like we showed you at the beginning of this video. And it's really easy. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to pin my little pattern onto my fabric, and this is just a cotton flannel that I had left over from another project I did, and it's really soft. Plus we're gonna do 2 layers of fabric, so that way it's just very good for protection. So we're gonna start just pinning this down right here with our pins, and then we're gonna cut it out. Okay, I have my pieces cut out. So I did 4 pieces. If you really want to, you can just fold your fabric in 4 layers. That way you only have to cut once. I just didn't want to mess anything up. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to unpin these. Oh, there we go. So we have our pieces right there. And now I'm just going to sew. Oh, got a little stuck right there. Okay, now I'm just gonna sew these curves together on both pieces of our fabric, both sets of them. So let's do that. If you want, you can keep your pieces pinned, that way they don't get uneven. I like to live on the wild side, so I'm just gonna do it like this. It's a little faster too. So yeah, we're just gonna stitch this up. This one. For this next piece, so we got our first one. For this next one, we're gonna actually sew it with the right sides out. That way, when we have our lining, it's just going to have a nicer seam when it's touching your face. When I made this mask last time, I made the mistake of doing both of them like this, and then the seam turned out like that, and you don't want that part, but it's functional. I still wear it. But yeah, we'll just show you the right way for the sake of this video. So now it's just the same thing. We're gonna sew that little curve together. Just make sure it's nice and lined up. Yeah, good enough. Okay. Okay. Now we have both pieces of our mask. Okay. So then, yeah, this is a good time to just see the fit of it on your face. You can use this piece right here. And this mask is gonna be for Garrett, so it's not gonna fit me. But we're getting there. So now, if you'd like to, you can trim this part right here just so that it's less bulky. And if you don't want to, it's not that big of a deal, but it will be a little bit more comfortable if you do. So we're just gonna trim and grade. I think that's what it's called. My professor would be so disappointed in me, I forgot. But yeah, we're just gonna trim this down, and that way it'll just lay flatter when we put the pieces together.
One eternity later.
Hello friends, we have been gone for a little while. We got busy. I started working more at the restaurant again, so we've just been crazy busy, working 2 jobs each and classes, so it's been fun. But let's get back to our little sewing project so we can finish up this mask. So I showed you guys pressing open the seams, clipping and notching is really important so that it lays flat, looks good. Don't make the mistake I did. Make sure you press open your seams first and then clip and notch, because if not, it's going to be really, really difficult. But anyways, we have our 2 pieces right here. So this is the one that's going to be to the inside. This is going to be what our face is going to touch. And then this is what everybody else is going to see, this piece right here. So now we're going to attach these, and what we need to do is, because we're going to sew them and then flip them inside out, we kind of need to lay them in the opposite way that we would. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this part right here and we're going to put it against the part that we want the world to see, but that's going to be like this. So it seems kind of counterintuitive because right now we have this to the outside and we don't really want to be looking like this and have this touching our face, but once we flip it, it's going to be great. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna pin these together, and we're gonna put a seam right along this edge right here and on the bottom, leaving these 2 ends open so that way we can flip it inside out, and then we'll close those up. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay guys, we got our seams done, so I'm just gonna cut away some of the extra thread just so that we can get it out of the way, because if I don't do it now, then it's gonna be a mess. So we're gonna be able to turn this inside out now that we got all of these. Ooh, I missed some threads. We got these seams done. But first what we're gonna do is we're just going to actually trim and grade this seam right here, just because it's more of like a straight seam. It's not much of a curve. That way we don't have a bunch of fabric bunching up inside our mask. So let's go ahead and do that before we flip it inside out. Now we're gonna flip it inside out finally. Got those seams taken care of. Check this out, guys. We got the part that's gonna be looking out, and then our lining on the inside. So I'm just gonna iron this again one more time so we can get it nice and flat, and then we'll finish stitching up. I pressed my mask now so it's nice and flat. And now what we're gonna do to close up this edge, if I had a serger, I would just serge it, but we don't, so it's okay. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna fold it over a little bit, and I'm gonna pin it, and then we're gonna stitch that, and then we're gonna fold it over one more time to make a loop. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, got our first little bit right there. Now we're just gonna turn it in one more time so that we can get a loop going. Now I'm gonna take this piece of ribbon that I have. It was one big piece, but I just cut it in 2. And I'm gonna use a bobby pin to thread it through our loops. Most people use safety pins. I get poked very easily, so I'm gonna use a bobby pin. But we're just gonna put it right through the loops that we made. And pull it through. Okay, so there's one. And we still have a little thread that I missed. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with the second one. Okay, there's two. So I'm just gonna tie them into a little loop at the end. That way we don't have to tie them and untie them and retie them every time we use the mask. Just a little knot, and not too tight either, because you might need to adjust the lengths of your ribbon. It takes a little bit to figure out. I made my mask and then I tied my little ribbons too tight, so that wasn't fun, but I think this should be good. Garrett has kind of a big head, so we don't want to make it too little. Okay, so now let's have him model this mask to see how it looks. I love it. How do you feel?
Good.
Does it fit well?
Yes, it fits very well. It's nice and fitted. You probably can't even hear me, but feels good.
Okay, so this is a mask I made for myself a couple weeks ago, and it still fits pretty well. I like it. It was one of my first ones, so it's not perfect. I like Garrett's a lot more, though. It turned out great.
It looks good. It feels good.
Yep. So yeah, make sure you guys are staying safe and wear face masks if you're going outside to help keep other people safe. Maybe you'll be okay, but let's just be considerate of others. And
like my old mother.
Yeah. Yep. And again, this is a very, very simple mask. I do not consider myself very good at sewing. I think this is great for anybody who's a beginner. And it took me maybe, without the delay of a couple of days because we were waiting, we were doing other stuff, it took maybe about 30 minutes max. So
something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. So go ahead and try it. And this is something easy you can do with anything that you have at home. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and keep watching our videos.